Hey, happy day 815. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here with the 815th day that I have talked about my journey of transitioning from the brick and mortar world and the corporate world of business to the online world. I learned something yesterday that was really enlightening and eye-opening from Jenna Kutcher, who I wasn't familiar with until about a month or so ago as part of the Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins, Russell Brunson KBB program that they've got going for personal development and for masterminds and coaching and things. And I wasn't aware of that. I'm not a part of that program. I actually am part of that program, the initial part of that program that was from about 2 years ago, but I didn't do a ton with it. And I usually do when I join something, I usually do a lot with it, but it happened at a time when I was moving and going through a lot of transition. So it's just kind of been sitting there in the background and I'm not doing anything with it because I've got my own things going on. But she has a different approach, and her perspective on social media was just really interesting and eye-opening. And she said, social media isn't our highlight reel, or supposed to be our highlight reel, and that we want our lives to be so much fuller and better and more amazing than we ever show on social media. And that it's really our legacy, because instead of journaling down and keeping track of things like we've done before in the past, it's different now. We are able to communicate and share and capture the essence of who we are and the messages that we want to leave with those we love and care about, people in the world, by participating in social media. And I have going to reevaluate and kind of take a look at what have I been doing with this journey, documenting this journey, and what do I want to do with it going forward. I guess what's sad is that I'm not really aware of what I've been doing. I hop on every day and I talk about what I'm working on. I talk about what's going on. I talk about what's working. I talk about what's not working. I talk about what I've screwed up on and what I'm working on moving forward. And right now, not like everybody else, but like a lot of people, I'm in addition to doing what I'm normally doing and usually doing, I am on a massive personal development and personal growth and progression phase, and I am absorbing like a sponge a lot of other people's things that I know can move me to the next level, and in terms of what I want to do, what I want to offer, what I want to share. So I'm participating in a couple different challenges, and one of them is really challenging for me. One is read 30 books in 30 days. Now, I think I've mentioned that I'm legally blind, so reading for me is not an easy undertaking, much less reading a book in 30 days. So I'm actually pushing myself and the limits of myself and what I'm capable of and able to do, just like everybody else, because now we have to focus on what we can do, not on what we can't do. So I'm doing that challenge, and I will admit I'm a little behind in it. It's being a bigger actual physical challenge on myself than I thought it was going to be, but I'm still going to get it done. I'm still getting it done. I've committed to myself that I will get it done. So, you know, part of what I love about the woman that's leading it, Avel Beckworth is his name, Beckworth, and I always mix her and one of my British friends up with their names. I put their two names together wrong. So Avel is leading us through this amazing challenge, and one thing I really appreciate that she's taught us is that you need to be flexible in it, and you don't have to read the book from cover to cover. You're looking for the key components and the key messages and the important parts of that, and that's what you go to a book for, which is really cool because that's how I read books. That's how I've read books for a couple of decades, and I didn't even realize that that's the way that you can do it. So I feel like she's given me permission with her reading fairy wand to be me and do things my own way with respect to that challenge. So I really appreciate it. Then I'm doing the Rise Up Challenge, which I've talked about, and I love summits and challenges because it's a great way to get a snapshot of other people and other experts to figure out who do you resonate with, who do you want to follow, who do you want to learn more from or more about. And I would think that you might see another summit coming for me. I did one in the beginning of 2019. Gosh, was that just last year? Holy buckets, time goes by fast. I did one last year, and I was thinking about doing 4 for women business owners last year, and then all things happen, life happens, right? I needed to move, I needed to do a bunch of different things, and I chose not to pursue that, not to follow that, for a lot of reasons, and I think I've shared them in this particular segment before. And it doesn't matter. I'm still creating and looking for who am I here for, who am I here to serve, who gets me, and who do I love working with. More and more and more, I'm continuing to refine that. I didn't just pick one thing. I'm going to work with dentists and I'm going to serve dentists. It's not my thing. Not a dentist. Love dentists, but I don't want to serve them in as a category or unique or particularly. So I'm working on that. Today was all about burying your head in the sand, was the idiom today. And what I love about that expression, not only have I used it, not only have I had that behavior, but I had it wrong. I didn't know, and I, like everybody else, falsely believed that ostriches bury their head in the sand because they think if their enemies don't see them, then, and if they don't see their enemies, then their enemies don't see them. If we don't see our problems, then our problems don't see us. If we don't knock our ducks down because we don't have our ducks all in a row, it's okay. But I didn't know. I never questioned the idiom before until I looked up the meaning last night, and I realized that Pliny from Roman times, the elder, whatever Pliny the elder means, he talked about ostriches hiding their heads in the bushes, and that later became burying their head in the sand. And people falsely believed, me included, that that's because they were hiding from their enemies, and they figured that their enemies wouldn't see them if their head was buried in the sand. Yet, of course, they still would get eaten, right? If I pretend not to see something and it's a problem and it's going to get me, if I'm in the course of a tornado and I pretend I don't see the tornado, it's still probably going to destroy my house and blow me away, right? Whether I see it or not. It's kind of like gravity. If I don't believe gravity applies to me and I jump off a building, guess what? Gravity applies to me whether I believe it or not. So I love this expression, and that I actually got in my face, hey, you got this wrong, just like other people. So don't feel bad about getting it wrong. Just realize, hey, how we see things is how we uniquely see things based on our past experiences, based on what we've thought and felt about things before. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but we need to be open to, if we realize, oh my gosh, this is what I thought, and this is what I believed, and this is what I interpreted for all this time. It doesn't matter if anybody else believed it or thought or interpreted it that way or not. I did. So do I want to keep feeling that way about it? Do I want to keep doing or behaving that way? Or do I want to say, oh my God, I had this wrong. What am I going to do now? I just say, hey, I laugh because I'm like, oh my God, I thought this wrong for all of these decades because I'm pretty old now, and it just is what it is. So what can I learn from that? Number one, I can learn that. I always like to ask myself, what can I learn when I screw things up? What can I learn from that? I can learn that how we see things is how we uniquely see things based on our experience. What things mean, it's up to us to define and decide and interpret what things mean to us and for us, right? We get to decide that. We can change that decision or that choice or that definition anytime we want. I did that with depression. In my 20s, I was bedridden and I was ready to give up on my life, and I thought it was hopeless. And I came across Tony Robbins, and I listened and learned, and I was open enough to listen and learn to things. And he was the first person that said, hey, you get to define what you want things to mean for you. And if you don't want to feel depressed, you can redefine what it takes for you to feel depressed. And I took that to heart, and I did that. And now it is virtually impossible for me to feel depressed. I can feel all kinds of other things, but I've retrained myself that depression, it's just not even an option for me. Now, it is for a lot of people, right? There's millions and millions of people, even people in my own family, suffer from depression. But in my 20s, I chose that I was never, ever going to suffer from depression again. I wasn't going to. It wasn't even an option for me. I don't even have a way to make myself feel depressed. I'm not sure what it would take for me to get to the point where I would allow myself to feel depressed. And we can do that with absolutely anything in our life and any emotion in our life. So thinking about that today. Get Up and Go challenge, that's my challenge that I'm leading, and that is on day 21 today. We talked about this very thing, how we get to define what everything means. And then the action item today was, is there something that you feel differently about right now today than you did a few weeks ago before we started the challenge? I said just before we started the challenge, or before, the changes with COVID-19. Is there just one thing? And share that in the comments below. Super easy. Some days I like to have super easy action items, right? Because I want it to be something that we do a little teeny thing every day, or at least something every day. Some days it's bigger than others, but today a small thing so that we keep moving forward and we keep having momentum. Fun challenge today was, if you won $1 million, or if you had $1 million, I say free and clear, how would you use it? What would you do with it for other people? Yesterday was about what would you do for yourself. Today was about what would you do for other people. And then I shared that I tried this very fun perfume, which is in a really fun, really cute bottle, but it doesn't smell awesome. I don't even know what it is, but it is in a really cute bottle, which is why I kept it, because my granddaughter thinks it's a cute bottle. But I put it on and I'm not loving it. You know how a lot of times we're creatures of habit and we get used to things that we like. I have been a Oscar de la Renta perfume wearer, I would say, since I was in my teens, probably 18. That has been my perfume of choice. And so anything else, yeah, I wear it sometimes, but I don't love them. That's, you know, again, creatures of habit. We go back to the things that make us feel good. I don't know what link that's sent into me feeling good, but I love that perfume. So that's the one I go back to. Some people, I think my sister, it's Chanel No. 5 or whatever, 9, I don't know. So that's it. That's it today. Again, I am doing personal development, social development, working with people, working with businesses that are in all different situations right now. Some are totally shut down. Others are swamped and just saying, how do we keep up? How do we keep going? And those are, you know, businesses I've worked with all along on how to build and supersize and grow your business. And now I'm also helping people that are totally shut down. What do I do to make sure I can hit the ground running, and I am supersizing and I'm moving in the direction and I'm prepared and ready to go as soon as we can hit the ground running. So if I can help you with any of that, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow with another report of what I'm doing to continue my transition from the brick and mortar world to the online world. And I will say, and I've been saying it all along, any business, any person actually, that doesn't have some kind of an online presence for their business is really hurting right now. And I think we're going to do a workshop this week for a couple gentlemen. So I'm like, why not just record it to help people make that happen now? Not in a week, not in 2 weeks, not in a month, right now. How do you establish yourself and an online presence? How do you do it now? How do you do it fast, easy? How do you do it for free? Because right now, people want to know how to do things for free. And guess what? You can absolutely, positively do it for free. And you can bootstrap anything and everything. So if you don't have any money because your income's been cut off, if you don't have a job, if your business is shut down, now money doesn't get to be your excuse and time doesn't get to be your excuse, because we all like to make excuses for why we can't do things. But when you take away time and you take away money as the excuses, you've taken away the two biggest objections to almost anything. And those are the biggest objections I've always heard. I don't have time, I don't have the money, I can't do it. And I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna teach you how to do it for free, and you've got the time. All you have to do is watch the workshop and you can establish yourself online. So there's no more excuses for not doing it, not taking action. Except, I don't want to do it. I'm scared. I don't feel like it. I want to sit here and just wait for the world to take care of me. Not going to happen, but if you want to, that's okay too. We all get to choose and experience what's right for us at any given moment. And we get to define everything, right? All right, have a great day. I will be with you tomorrow. Bye. I got a 4-year-old coming. Woohoo!